Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. It's the Ole Miss LSU football game preview, college. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate it. Here at 100 Yards of Football, I'm Mr. Football Vincent Turner. The college game preview today. As I just mentioned, the Ole Miss Rebels going against the Louisiana State Tigers. Let me start with LSU. This is an up and down football team, but I said after the first game watching them against Florida State, this team can be very dangerous at the end of the year. And they got some very special talented players. Well, last week against Florida in a 45-35 win, you saw that happen. Jalen Daniels, who has 1,564 yards on the year, was flawless last week. He's finally playing like the guy that I saw in his freshman year at Arizona State. 23-32, 349 yards. But what I came away with is Kayshon Boutte, NFL royalty. He finally put on the show last week. 7 receptions, 118 yards, 16 yards reception. I still got him in the class as one of the top 3 receivers entering into the 2023 NFL draft. And Malik Neighbors on the year is a very special player, over 418 yards, 32 receptions on the year. And then defensively, B.J. Larry, locally out of the Atlanta metro area, Marietta, Georgia, is a football player. On the year, he's got 3.5 sacks, 4.5 tackles for loss. So you're seeing that Brian Kelly, with this LSU team that has talent, last week they kind of rolled into a nice little mold last week. And that was a very, very impressive win over the Florida Gators in Gainesville. Now let's talk about the Ole Miss Rebels. Kudos to Lane Kiffin. 1962 is the last time that Ole Miss has been undefeated at this point of the season. 1962. Perry Lee Dunn, Chuck Morris. Absolutely. Glenn Griffin. Boy, you know they got to be very excited down on the Grove. And then think about this. When you look at Ole Miss and LSU, before I get into the Ole Miss team, you always got to go back to Halloween night, 1959. Billy Cannon, that 89-yard punt return, that was electric. Still talked about today. Well, you know what? Ole Miss coming to Baton Rouge on Saturday, it's going to be electric. Let's talk about the Rebels football team, man. Jackson Dart, special football player, transfer from California, USC. 1,488 yards on the year pass, 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Receivers John Domingo and Malik Heath, NFL royalty. 853 yards, 6 touchdowns. But the thing that's really surprising about the Rebels is that they lead the conference in rushing, 271 yards a game rushing the football. And you think about the young man that they got running the football right now, Zach Evans, and the other young man, Quinshon Dickens. Excuse me. I can't think of the young man's name, but it kind of hold me. But that Rebels offensive running game is off the kisser. Then you're looking at total offense, they're averaging 448 yards on the year, 40 points a game. Defensively last week, they gave up 179 yards to Tank Beasley and Auburn last week, but that's all right. I think when you look at this Ole Miss team, overall, they're improving week in and week out. And boy, when you look at the running game, as I just mentioned, you got to think about Randy Baldwin, Deuce McAllister, John Avery. 40 points a game, 271 yards rushing a game. You got to think Lane Kiffin. You didn't think he'd have it in him. You thinking him more of an offensive-minded guy throwing the football. But make no bones, this is a very special Ole Miss team. And this is a big football game of Ole Miss to see whether or not they're going to be a national player. But this is a tough football game. But you know what? I think the Rebels are going to go down there and win a high-scoring game 42-38. Yes, sir. I think it's going to be some points put on the board. And I think when it's all said and done, we're going to talk about Ole Miss maybe being in that caliber of being talking about a national champion. That's right. The Rebels, this is a very special football team under a very special head coach in Lane Kiffin. Like him or not, but this guy knows offensive football. And I never thought in a million years that Ole Miss would be leading the conference in rushing. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate hearing 100 Yards Football. Thank you to my producer, Mr. Logan Landers. Y'all be special here on 100 Yards of Football. Thank you and God bless.